Hey guys, it's Ash and Pete.
Hey, hey.
Welcome back.
We are here.
We are. I know. We were having a little, I feel like what we were going to discuss, I always feel like, dang it, we should be recording these things because I feel like they're important things that a lot of people relate to.
Yes. 100%.
But then we also have other things that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So, okay. So first,
how's your wine?
I know it's good. What is this?
That is actually J-Lore.
Did you get your package?
I did get my package. Yes.
I wanted to ask you.
Yes. So I went to, Ashley and I went to, the coast.
Jason was our Uber.
Yes. He was our goober.
Yes. He was our free party bus.
Yes. And he drove us to a couple of wineries and I signed up for
Pete's birthday.
Yes, for my birthday. And I signed up for a club membership for one of the wineries, J-Lore. And yeah, it did come. I actually haven't had any of the bottles that came yet though.
You haven't?
No.
This is one that you bought while we were there?
No, this is a bottle that I bought at the store.
Oh, okay.
That I just happen to have of theirs.
So it's not even one of the fancy ones.
It's not. And that was Ashley's first time wine tasting.
I had never been wine tasting, and I'm not a big wine person.
I know.
However, I did.
But you liked it.
Yes, I did. I did like a couple wines there, and I think when me, you, and Tiff, because we had a little girls' weekend, and so
nice.
It was. I know.
It was so nice.
Done a couple days.
I know.
We need to do that.
Yeah.
We need to do it at a time though that Lynn's can come.
I know. Yeah.
Because it is sad when like the little four musketeers are missing.
Misking. When we're misking on a musketeer.
Yes, but it was amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
It was it was good for the soul.
It was.
And then on the way back, we stopped at the other place where we fed the koi.
Oh, yes, that was at Bianchi.
Yes, which I did like a bottle there as well.
It was a good bottle.
I don't remember what it was, but
I think it was a Pinot Noir. Mid-sized car.
I love that.
Pinot. If you know, you know.
Yes. But I think I just never really had good wines.
That does make a big difference. It does.
Because remember I told you that one time at my girlfriend Cindy's house, which I saw her daughter today.
Oh, at church?
Yes.
Oh.
She's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And
she is a beautiful girl. I've seen pictures.
She has a beautiful soul and heart, and I just love her so much. She just turned 18. I mean, oh gosh, it's been over a week now, but she's 18 now. I cannot believe it. So.
And you thought of wine with her?
I'm
not sure. Doug, I don't know what happened.
Yes, because
remember
I was at Cindy's one night.
Oh yes,
I tasted the Dow.
Yeah, which I am so curious to which one it was.
Because John does not like Dow, or John doesn't like Jason.
No, actually, John does. I think
John is Tony's dad. By the way.
So Dow, I think you've had the Dow that we can pick up like at Costco, right? Because Costco carries Dow, and I think you didn't like it.
No, I loved the Dow that I had at Cindy's.
I know, but
it's not the Costco one.
I don't think it's the Costco one though.
It's not.
So I don't know which one it is. Dow's kind of a little, to me, being kind of a pain in the ass because they have a very nice tasting room. Okay. And the grounds are really nice.
When we went for your birthday, you tried to get in there.
I did, and I couldn't get us in. And they're like really strict about like this, COVID schedules, blah 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 blah. Like You have to
J.
come
Lore
in.
was amazing.
They were amazing.
So I thought that the staff was great there.
Yes.
I thought the tasting room was great. I thought
the wine was good.
The wine was good. I really did. I mean,
can I tell you?
He was kind of nerdy, but I really did like him.
Can I tell you it's funny? Because remember how when we were there, the guy brought up the Carol's Vineyard?
Yes.
John.
Oh, loves it. Right?
He said,
he's like,
yes, he's like, if you ever get the chance to buy their Carol's Vineyard. I was like,
yes.
Funny. They talked about that.
Yes. That is my thing with wine is that this is very good. And I think maybe I just haven't had a lot of wine. At Cindy's house, I had that Dow Reserve. Yeah. It was delicious.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite ever that I've ever had.
I have some good bottles in my fridge right now. And I have some good J. Lores, but I have some good,
just other ones
some that John may have blessed our house with. Yes.
Oh, John is so sweet with his
yes. Well, yes. I'm always like, Dad better come with a good bottle of wine. and I love when he brings multiple bottles and we don't finish them all because then they go into my fridge. So I have some good bottles in there. I'll have to crack one open soon.
Well, I feel a little bit like a mean person. So on last Sunday, I believe it was, and I can say this because my mom doesn't listen because she's not nice and whatever, Mom.
Mean.
I know. You need to talk to her. Okay, so she comes over. She had something she wanted to bring to me, and I needed to give her something that she had left, and then I also had her birthday gift still. And so I said, hey, Jay said that, he'll make some dinner. Do you guys want to come over and have dinner? And so she said, yeah. So great. Her and her husband. Oh, that I'm like so.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So her and her husband come over. And then I'm like, before they got there, I was like, oh my gosh. She's like, I don't know that we have any wine. And we didn't have any ginger beer. Like, because she'll have a mule.
And
so,
that's my girl.
Yes. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. So I'm looking and I was like, oh, well, what about this wine? And Jason's like, oh, I was like, oh, is that one that one of Jason's friends had given us some wines a while back? I'm like, is that one that he brought? And then he pulls it down and I'm like, oh no, put that one back up. It was the one that I had got while we were over at J. Lore.
Oh.
And I was like, well, I wasn't planning on drinking. So I was like, I want to have that. Like, I want to enjoy it also.
Yeah.
So I didn't let my mom enjoy it. So I was a little selfish, but we sent Hayden to the store and he got some ginger ale. It wasn't ginger beer, but it was fine. I know. And Jason overserved her. And there's this whole issue.
She went Grandma Wendy on us.
Oh my goodness. Bad. Like it was, and I told, like, after she left, I was like, Jason, what the hell? And he's like, what? I said, I told you, give her a half pour. He's like, I know. And then
he tried to give her the Montel pour, huh?
And no, but I said that. And then Jason grabbed the cup and my mom was like, no, I want a full one. And I'm like, Wendy, he's like, the last one was almost all ginger ale. I'm like, I don't know if I believe you. He enjoys when my mom is drunk.
I know he does.
He
does.
She's so funny, and he
and he thinks it's hilarious to watch her kind of stumble around.
Yes,
and
he loves the conversations that they have when she's drunk. And I'm just like, don't stop. What are you doing? And he's like, was she really that bad? I'm like, yes, she was that bad. So he doesn't realize it, but I'm like, don't do that. So I should have just opened up the wine and had wine with her.
Yeah.
Because I ended up drinking Ashland's that night anyway. But I didn't think I wanted wine at that point.
Yeah.
So I didn't share it. And she would have been better off had I shared it with her. So that's my selfish story. Okay. I have a question for you.
What?
Okay. So I know everybody's probably like, shut the hell up. Okay, yes, you listen to Jeff Lewis, blah, 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 whatever. I'm trying to catch up. So I've been listening to a lot of them.
Yes.
So I know people are probably like, shut up. We're done with you, whatever.
Well, I just don't want to lose our listeners to only Jeff Lewis. You have to listen to us and Jeff Lewis if you're going to start listening to Jeff Lewis.
Or
Okay?
don't listen to him. Just listen to us and I'll do a little recap for you.
Hopefully our moving around isn't like super loud.
I know. I feel like it is loud. So I apologize, you guys. I'm just moving. Okay, so this was a thought that came into my head when I was listening to one of the episodes, because he had mentioned how, and I'm sure you're aware, when Monroe went to Rome, right? When Gage took her to Italy.
Okay, I don't think I know about this.
Okay, so they split up, so they share custody. Obviously.
Yes, right.
So he took her, the ex took her to Rome.
Mm-hmm.
So she went on this like 1 week trip, whatever, with the other dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking, gosh, like that would be so hard. I feel like if Jason ever wanted to divorce me, I would request that he wait until our kids are 18. Which I know some people do that.
Well, she is very little.
She's
she just turned 5. Yeah.
Yes. So obviously they have a long time. My kids are older. So if Jason for some reason does decide he wants to divorce me, he just needs to wait 5 years. Okay. After 5 years, he can do it. I know that's dumb because now I'm allotting him more spousal support, but whatever. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. Because I don't know how good I feel like I would be a mess at sharing my kid.
You would.
And so that's kind of what I wanted to ask you. You know, we have a girlfriend who she is going to travel, or no, she's not, because that weekend, no, it hasn't passed. We have a girlfriend who's going to travel to her parents, and she's taking her baby, and it's going to be the first flight that the baby goes on.
Yes.
They're flying.
In States.
Yes, in the States. And so she asked the baby's dad, of course, she said, like, are you okay with it? They're together. They're not separated.
Yeah.
They're together, but he's not going to be able to go on the trip. So she wanted to make sure he would be okay with her taking him.
On his first trip.
Yes. It's his first
flight.
Airplane ride. Right. She wanted to make sure. And when I was hearing about how their daughter was going to experience this for the first time, how do you handle those things?
Wait, hold on really quick. Just out of curiosity, how did Jeff handle that? Was he good with it?
He seemed totally fine.
You know what? Here's the thing. So we actually, this just came up because, earlier today we saw my grandparents, and my grandpa goes, oh, this is like the kids' first flight you guys are going to go on when you go to the wedding. Right. And we were like, yeah, well, the little ones, but Tristan, we've taken her on a flight. And he's like, oh, where did she fly to? And I said, oh, we took her to Hawaii with us. And he's like, oh, when was that? And we're like, so
almost 6 years ago.
Yeah. So we're like, so then we're adding it up and we're like, yeah, it's been 6 years. And we took her to Hawaii. And that was a very big deal that I took her to Hawaii. Not because my ex-husband had any problems with it. He was totally fine. But my concern was he is, so her dad is not a citizen.
Right.
He is legal. He has a visa. He has a visa. He renews his visa every 10 whatever years that it needs to be renewed. He's done that. Why he hasn't taken the steps to be a citizen, I don't know.
None of us know.
He's been here for 30 years. I don't know what his problem is.
It's just his thing. That's what he likes.
Well, when we were married, we were young, and he was very like, I'm not going to be a citizen of this country. Like, I'm, blah, 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 blah. now he's much older, and now he's like, he did make a comment actually, because we have to fill out all of the FAFSA stuff.
Right.
And he goes, well, don't worry. He's like, I'm going to, I think I was like, well, you know, she's going to be like first generation on your side. Like she's going to be, you know, first, you know, generation to go to college and like all this stuff. And, and, you know, being Mexican American and, you know, we were kind of going through the scenario, and he said, yeah, I don't know why you never like, had me become a citizen. I was like,
because it was up to you.
Yeah. And I want to be like, dude, you didn't listen to a damn thing I said.
Right.
You couldn't even stay faithful. Do you understand? Like you didn't listen to anything I said. Why are you, okay, whatever. And, but back then he was very like, you know, I'm not doing that. And now he's like, he goes, well, he's remarried. So he's like, you know, his wife, she's like, we're going to go through the process, and I'm going to be a citizen.
It's about time.
I said, good. That's great for you. You know, that's good. Mm-hmm. I said, you know, that's good. But back then when I took her to Hawaii, which I had to get all this paperwork, you know, notarized, documented, all that stuff. My concern was he was going to want to take her to Mexico.
Oh.
To see his family. And I was not comfortable with that.
Yeah. I mean, just because it is scary, I mean, depending on where you're going, it is scary. You hear about it in the news, these Americans that go over and.
I know. But then here I am. My daughter is not 18 yet.
And you're going to take her to Mexico.
And I'm taking her to Mexico.
Yeah. You are taking her to a resort.
Yes, we're not going to like a village in Mexico, and we're not really going. I mean, it's all touristy, right? It's not. We're not going in.
You know, when
he would not.
He's going to take her, right? They were supposed to
go. And at this point, after like 15, I was like, okay, you know, I have to come to terms with the fact that she's getting to the age where. And look, it's not like I don't want her to know where she comes from, exactly. You know?
Yeah.
I'm just concerned with safety.
And
yes. And honestly, when she was that little, I was really afraid, like he is not a citizen here.
What if something happened and she couldn't get back?
What if he didn't want to bring her back?
Yeah.
What would I do then?
Yeah.
Where would I, how?
No. Like, how do you get that correct? No,
yeah.
I could see that.
You know, so,
things weren't great with you guys a lot of the time, you know, when she was younger. So I could see the concern there.
Yeah.
You know,
so it was hard for that to happen. But I honestly think like, I think I struggled more with splitting holidays.
Yeah.
Than I did trips. Well, he didn't really take her anywhere, so maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why. But that is also something too. Like
you don't want to share your holidays. I didn't want to share my holidays.
Which we had to share the holidays for the girls, and it was very hard. And I don't know if because I was younger, maybe I made it more difficult than it really needed to be, because I would get frustrated about things like. So it really bothered me that we always had to drive all the way there. She would never meet us. And that is something that I always say is you were so stupid when you got divorced.
Well, let me ask you. Well, was it in the agreement or something?
Yes. Jason
okay, so
drive.
Did he ever have a conversation with her like, hey, look, I know we agreed on this and I'm doing everything, but like, I need you to meet me sometimes or what? Did he ever?
No, because she would be a bitch about it.
But here's the thing. Like, I think about that kind of stuff all the time because I think like we have an agreement, right? Parent to parent, him and I, but sometimes he does things and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm shocked, but I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to say no to it. I'm going to whatever. I'm just going to let him do what he wants to do. But I wonder how that's relayed to the partner once he gets home.
Right.
And I wonder, like, maybe she wouldn't have liked that. He's never said to me, like, let me talk to my wife and then, and I'll get back. And I think part of it is that, he'll do whatever for her that he feels like at the time he can commit to.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there kind of comes a point where you kind of have to sometimes say, like, I need to talk to, I would say that if I needed to, and let me talk, not that Tony's going to say no or break or whatever, but it's like, I need to, like, consider, figure it out, consider my partner's feelings in all of this. And I think that sometimes parent to parent, we have an understanding, and I don't think that sometimes that one parent goes back to the spouse and relays that either.
So on their side, I mean, Jason at times, he would ask if, she'd be able to meet. Or maybe there was a time that they were doing something, so she would say, I'll meet you guys here. Or they would be coming to Fresno. So, like, for a football game, something like that, right? Her ex-husband graduated from Fresno State. Don't worry, the year we were born. And then, so sometimes they would go to the games or whatever, right? And so they would meet us, or maybe he grew up in Coalinga, so maybe they were going there, and so we would meet, right? It was very rare that would take place. Yeah. A lot of times, especially in the first 4 to 5 years, I don't think she was very happy about us. And I don't think she wanted to do anything to help.
Right.
So she was not willing to meet or things like that.
Yeah.
So those conversations didn't happen between them, like, every now and then. It's funny because when Jason and we hadn't been dating very long, but there was a weekend because he would have the girls every other weekend, and there was a weekend that he was going to be out of town on Friday. He was going to come back on Saturday, but Friday was the day he was supposed to get them, and he was going to be out of town. So she agreed to let me get the girls, but she did meet me. Like, I didn't have to drive all the way. She met me, and I got the girls, and then we went back home, and then, the girls and I hung out, and the next day Jason was there. And she seemed totally fine with doing something like that. And it's weird because are you moving?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. No, I don't know that anyone else will hear. I was just like, oh gosh, where's that noise coming from? But she was okay with that. But there would be a lot of things that she didn't want to do anything to help. And it was very frustrating, especially after we had the boys, because then, with me, I don't care. I'm an adult. So if we're on Thanksgiving, if we're driving to go get the girls and then we're coming back, I don't care that Jason and I are spending 4 hours in the car. We're getting the girls. Like, that's the reward of it, right? Like, we get that out of that. But then when it started to cut it, once the boys came, then it was like, now they're spending 4 hours in a car on a holiday when they could be, which, I mean, my nieces and nephews my niece and nephews from my brothers are much younger. So it wasn't necessarily like they were going to be around a lot of other kids, but at the same time, I don't want them spending their whole holiday
in a
away
car
from family.
Right.
I feel like holidays are when you spend time with family. And
right.
So that sucked. And there would be times where she would be like, no, like, we're supposed to have them during this time, but she wants them at this time. So no, I'm not going to do this, where it would put more of a burden on us. And that was very frustrating. But my thoughts about, like, if Jason and I were to ever split, if there was a first that I wasn't involved in, I would have a very hard time with that.
Yeah.
Where there were things like, there was a time where Kyla got her hair cut and her mom didn't talk to Jason about it at all. And it really bothered him. You know, like, not that he was going to say no. I know. You're
I did the
mom.
same thing.
You're the mom. And not that Jason would have said no, but it was just that she didn't even consider talking to him.
Tristan wanted her hair cut so bad, and we had been in this terrible, awful place after COVID.
Okay.
And she wanted it all cut off.
She's a little older at that point, though.
Yeah, she's in her teens, but he was not happy. He was not happy. He never directed it to me, but to her. See, he was very upset, and he was like, that never would have happened if I would have known that. And I'm like,
and it's kind of funny if you think about it, the way that you parent a younger child versus an older child, right?
Yeah.
Like, the way you would parent an older child. I mean, there are things like, so when the girls got their nose pierced, they were under 18. Their mom took them. That wouldn't have been something that I would have done. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that Jason would be as against it as I would. Not that there's anything wrong with it. And once they're 18, fine. There are just some things, and I think it's because I am kind of old fashioned about some stuff, me too. Right? Like,
me too.
There are some things that I'm just like, wait until you're 18. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to approve a tattoo, which the girls did not get any. I'm not saying their mom got them any tattoos before they were 18, but no tattoos before 18. But things like piercings. My mom, I did trick her into getting my belly button pierced when I was like 17.
How do you trick your mom into getting your belly button pierced?
So what I said was, Mom, like,
I need my ear pierced
in July.
I need my ear pierced?
No. My mom, I had my ears pierced from when I was little. But when I was 17, so my birthday's in July, I was 17. It was probably like April, May. What I did is I said, Mom, I really want to get my belly button pierced. And if you don't let me get it pierced, I'm getting it pierced when I'm 18. And then it's going to suck because I'm not going to be able to swim. I'm not going to be able to go to a lake or anything after I get it pierced because it needs to heal for, what is it, like 6 weeks or something, right? So I said that kind of stuff to her. My birthday's like right in the middle of summer, where obviously I'm going to want to go to the lake and stuff like that. So it was like, I'm going to get it done in a few months anyways. And all you're going to do is prevent me from being able to have fun in the pool and whatever.
And that's where the mother I am would be like, I don't fucking care.
I don't care. Well, my
don't go to the lake or get your belly button pierced. What's more important to you?
Right. My mom was like, fine. And I did it. And then I got my tongue pierced later after I was 18.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You had your tongue pierced?
I did.
Do you still have a hole in your tongue?
Uh-uh.
Does it heal?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It was like I can tell where it was. And then down there, but no, nobody knows. Like my belly button, I could still stick something in it. You had your belly button pierced too. You can, my tongue, no. Oh gosh, I would have to get it re-pierced if I wanted it pierced.
Oh my gosh. Why was that a fad?
I don't know.
A lot of
me, Jen, and one of our other friends. I was never even big on that girl. Okay? And just so you know, Jason and I were together before I took it out, and he doesn't even remember that I had it. So that's not accurate, okay?
Maybe you just weren't memorable.
I'm not memorable.
Rememberable.
When I said, you tell your partner, I don't feel like I'm good at this. Tell me what needs to happen. Hello. Yes, I do that. I do. I'm not joking. I do. But okay. Has there ever been a first that Alfredo got that you did not?
I don't think so. And I think the reason why is because he wasn't as present.
Yes. He has been more present as she got older.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think so. I think that I've gotten a lot of the verses. All the verses.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, it's really interesting. So we were talking about this last night, actually, with my parents. I said, it's hard, like these kids, this generation, like it's hard. It's a lot of work. And I hate to sound like a Debbie Downer when it comes to my relationship with my daughter, because I love her so much.
You guys are just in a tough place.
And I told her, I said, it's better.
Yes.
It's totally better, but we still bump heads so much. And I was telling my mom, I'm like, you probably are like, well, that's what you get for, being a shit. I go, but she reminds me a lot of her dad.
Yeah.
And she goes, we know, we know. And I said,
they see that.
They see it. And she's like, it's really interesting how even with him not being around, how his influence has been with her.
I think, and I'm not joking, I think some things are just genetic. There are things that my biological dad was around maybe a handful and a half times
and
where
your
we
brother
would visit. Okay. My parents split up when I was like 2.5. So Stephen was like 1.5. I don't remember anything from when my mom and my biological dad were together. However, Stephen has a lot of things that he does that my biological dad does.
Mm.
Like my mom will say, oh my gosh, you're just like your dad. Like that is something your dad would do. That is something your dad would say. He was never around. Like if you were to talk to my brother, he is the same way that I am. Like my stepdad, my dad that raised us is our dad.
Yeah.
The other dad, no, he's not. Stephen is very loyal. So the fact that he is our father, Stephen would do things for him that maybe I might not, because my brother's the most loyal person I know, like insanely, where it's like, I don't even know how to comprehend it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he does and says, and he acts like my biological dad, who was never around. I think after Stephen and I turned like 6 and 7, we maybe saw my biological dad one time. But Stephen still says and does things like him.
And it's interesting because crazy. I feel like so much of it is genetic. Yeah. And then you're right, because there's no other.
There wasn't a big enough influence.
There wasn't. And even if you would think so, then people would say, well, she must hold on to all of those memories with her dad. And she almost adores him more. And I don't think she does. And I told my mom, I said, the weird thing is that although we have our issues, I don't think she's any closer to her dad than she is me.
No.
I think she's closer to me.
I think she butts heads with you, and probably, well, one, it's easier to butt heads with you. You're there.
Yeah.
You're the person that's there. You're the person.
Her dad will tell her things that'll like cut you.
Yeah.
Like he's sharp with his words.
I know.
I feel like I'm
more delicate.
Yeah. And I'm a straight shooter, but I'm not going to like tear you down. And you're a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
won't hold back.
Mm-mm.
He's like, I don't give a fuck.
All open.
And I'm like, okay, well,
maybe we don't.
Maybe we don't say that to our daughter because I don't want her to.
But he will.
Yeah.
He will.
Yes.
And you won't. I do think, just like we had said a couple episodes back, it is easier to be mean and angry and all of those things with the ones you're the closest to.
Mm-hmm.
When I used to work at the call center, I had a girlfriend who was like, I had said something about one of our other coworkers. Like, he drove me crazy because I can't even remember. But he would annoy me so much because of X, Y, and Z. And she's like, what? Like, she was shocked that I would even say those things because she thought I was so nice. She thought I was so sweet, that I never had anything negative to say, that I was just so nice. And I'm like, that's because I'm at work. I'm at work. Yes, I am nice to these people. Yeah, some of them drive me nuts. Some of them I cannot stand them. But I am here to do a job. Right. I am going to be professional.
Right.
And I don't know you, but her and I are good friends, obviously. But I don't know everyone at work enough to fucking snap at them like I would my husband, my kids, which is unfortunate because they are the most important people.
Right.
But we're more willing. We can be our complete selves around them.
Right.
And we can't.
Well, and
that's how she is. She can be her complete self with you.
And her therapist, when we first started going through this, who was a super sweet, nice girl who was, I say girl because she was younger, but she was a woman.
Right.
But she wasn't like a teenager, but I mean, she was just younger than this old biddy. And, and she said to me, I mean, she was really the one that broke it down because I was coming to her like, why, what, I don't know what did I do? And what am I constantly doing that she just hates me? And she's like, she doesn't hate you, Mom. Like, she does not hate you.
She doesn't.
And she's like, you know, she goes, and I said, I go, it drives me nuts that she just freaking thinks her dad's like the biggest freaking like hero and he hasn't done shit. And then, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't know what he does and gives her that I can't give. And she's like, oh, that's not, no, that's not the case. You know, and without telling me all the nitty gritty, she basically broke it down that, you know, she has come to me with things that she's very bothered with the way he talks to her. And then it's like, as I start, I'm like, I see it now. I see it.
Yeah.
So I feel like he didn't get a lot of firsts. I think that I got those.
And he didn't ever seem bothered by that.
No.
And I don't know, sorry that I'm moving, but I don't know if it's is it
woman,
because I'm
like a mom? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is it because I'm a mom? Those kinds of things are important to me. Had I not been, you know, boys took their first flight this year, you know, and we all flew together. And had Jason taken that flight with them, I would have been so sad. Obviously, I would have let it happen. Right. You know, if Jason needed to fly somewhere with them, say they were going back to South Dakota, Jason was going back for something and I couldn't go and the kids were going to go, I would not stop them from doing it, but I would probably be heartbroken that I wasn't there for that. And I think they would, I think they would remember that. Yeah. Like, I remember my first flight, you know, I remember a lot of stuff from that. You know, those are kind of those experiences that you do really keep.
I mean, I guess he did take her on her first train ride across the country.
She did. I don't think you were as concerned because, well, she had been on a train before.
Yes,
right?
I had taken her on a train already a couple of times. She had been on a
train before. It wasn't like her first train ride. And I don't think that was something that you thought that would, I mean, she will remember that.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
But it wasn't something that it was a first.
She never wants to do it again though. So
exactly. It wasn't something that you felt like this
it was a big
one of those things where, oh, I remember when we did that. I wish we could do that.
And that's why sometimes I'm like, you know, as shitty as it sounds, it's like, am I kind of lucky that he isn't like always involved, that I get to have all of those?
I think so.
Because I mean, a real, I mean, this sounds terrible. A really invested parent would be like, oh, she's going to go visit that campus. So, when are we going?
Yes.
And what am I going to say?
Yes.
No, you can't go.
Right. No,
And then he's going to say, so then you're not going to need my help with this.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, and he has every right to say that, you know?
Yeah. And he could go. It's
he
not
really could go.
Keep him from going,
no.
It's not something that he's asking to do.
He's not. And if he's not asking, I'm not offering.
No, of course not. And is that something that he's not asking because that's a dad? Like, you know, there are things that moms think of and moms do that dads don't.
Yeah.
You know, we're lucky with our younger kids that when we're doing those things, we're typically doing them as a family. So even if the dad doesn't think of it, it's something that he's still involved in because we're together. And so I don't necessarily know, is it because they're a guy, so it's not something, or it's that guy. And when I listened to that podcast and I was thinking about, I would be devastated if my kids went and did something like that with them. Like even your guys' trip to Hawaii, I would be devastated not to do that with my kids. And I could understand, you know, there were tricks and things that the girls would do with their mom. And I feel like on that, I can take a back seat because I didn't give birth to them. So I know that's something their mom would want to do. Right. You know, like when Kyla was very young, she asked if she could call me mom. And I didn't want to step on her mom's toes. Not that I want to step on her mom's toes now, but I would love for them to call me mom. You know what I mean? Like when they say like, oh, Hayden, mom's calling you or something. I love that. You love that. Yeah. I do.
You know what? Can I tell you something about that really quick? I didn't even tell you this the other day. So the girls were saying, Georgia knows that Tristan has a dad, a different dad.
Yes.
They don't understand what they're saying. It's kind of just words, but she's like, so her dad, like Tristan's with her dad. Mm-hmm. And my dad is not, so she like, it's been this way for a little while now. And it makes me sad a little bit because it's like the reality of the whole situation, you know,
it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard.
The boys, Hayden used to cry every other Sunday when we dropped the girls off. It's hard. It is very hard to have that break.
Yes.
It is.
And so Tristan was saying something and she was like, so I'm going to go with I think she was like telling us her schedule or whatever. And Georgia goes, big sis, you're going to go with your dad? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go with my dad. And she's like, you're going to go with your real dad? And you're going to go and she goes, I have both of my dads are my real dads. Aww. And I was like, I'm like
you wanted to cry. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I'm like, oh my gosh, did she really just say that right now? Like, you know,
but Tony's so important and he's been such a big part of her life.
Yeah. And so it makes me happy that she has that settled in her heart, you know, that she sees that.
Yeah.
But, it's those words, and I know, and he heard it. And honestly, I kind of forgot to ask him about it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that has to make you especially as the parent, because it makes me feel good when she's telling the girls like, go give dad your blah, 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 blah. You know, it makes me feel good. And I'm not even the step parent.
Right.
You know, because it's a unity. It's a family.
Exactly. Like, you know, the girls sent me for Mother's Day a thing that says mom. And then it has all my kids' names like on it. Mm-hmm. And those things are so special to me because they are my girls.
Yeah.
Like They
Yeah.
are. They're my kids. I don't care. They are. I've been with them since they were little girls, and now they're grown women.
Yeah.
And even though all those years ago I said no to Kyla that she could call me her Ashley because I didn't want to step on her mom's toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought, my thought at that point, which not that I would necessarily think differently, but the thing is that as a mom, and I didn't have any biological kids at this point, but my thought was, as a mom, how would I feel if someone else, if my kid was calling someone else mom?
Right.
And it would probably hurt me.
Right.
I'm an emotional person. We've established this.
I know.
It would probably hurt me.
Yeah.
However, when I get those gifts that say mom and it's all the kids, or when the girls will say, hey, where's mom? Or, hey, mom's telling you this. Those moments are gold to me.
Yeah.
Because they are my heart.
Yeah.
They are. I love them more than they'll ever know.
Yeah.
You know, and no, they didn't come out of me, but they're my girls and I don't care.
Yeah.
And there are things that I think like it doesn't hurt me if Barb gets to do those things with them because I would be hurt if I didn't get to do those things as a mom, you know? So there are things like that that don't hurt me, but I wonder as the biological parent if those things would hurt.
Yeah.
You know, like how do you handle those things?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of got lucky in the sense of like not really having to worry about a lot of that stuff, even though it's shitty, because she deserves to have it all, you know. Right. But I think that, I mean, co-parenting is difficult.
Yeah.
Co-parenting is just, it's shitty. Obviously, you divorced or you broke up for a fucking reason.
Right.
And now you've got to break up, but still be together in a sense, you know, and still be a part of each other's lives. Right. Thank goodness they get to a point when they're teenagers that they get their own phones.
Yes.
It breaks it up
that
a lot.
Makes it so much easier.
A lot.
Yes.
But,
unless the parent that pays for the phone blocks your phone number. That makes it difficult. Oh, but eventually you move past that.
But it is awful. I'm grateful that I never have to go through this again because my husband will have to bury my body in the ocean before I'll divorce him.
Exactly. That's why I say
it's not
if
happening.
Jason wants to divorce me at some point, the boys are going to have to be 18.
You know, this is the way I see it. We have a 5-bedroom house. Just, I'll pick another bedroom if you hate me that much. But I'm not leaving. No. I'm not leaving and neither are you. So we're stuck. No. Figure it out.
You're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere.
No.
You're never going to get rid of me. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Stuck.
I agree. Because, so I have a girlfriend who is dating a guy with kids. And I've told my girls this too.
So hard. So hard.
I have not told her this, but I've told my girls this, that if my girls wanted to date a guy with kids,
you would tell them run for the hills.
Run.
Yeah.
Run. I love the shit out of my kids. I love every single one of them. I would not change a single thing. I don't want to run for the hills.